Life isn't always fair. Sometimes hardships come at the most vulnerable times, and childhood should be a time of innocence and joy, not suffering. My story is one of struggle, pain, but also about survival. It's about how I found the strength to take my life into my own hands, even when everything seemed to be going downhill. This is my story, my life. All beginnings always seem to come from the same story. All the hardship seems to decide to start in the most vulnerable period of life, childhood. I, to be honest, had a very difficult childhood. My father was not the king of the castle who would love and protect us. He was rather the servant who reigned over glasses of wine. He was a drunkard. He would come home drunk, beat my mother, then us, and to escape from his hands, we would run into the forest, trying somehow to protect ourselves from the cruelty shown. At 21, I got married, believing that I would escape from suffering and that I would start a new life. But, unfortunately, fate had something else in store for me. He hit me from the start. Too bad I realized it later. First with sharp words, then with dubious behaviors, and finally with cruel blows without a shred of mercy. We would come home drunk, beat me and destroy everything we had, including the jars of food that kept us alive. When I became pregnant with my first boy, the nightmare did not stop. He would kick me in the belly. He took advantage of the fact that I had nowhere to go, and that's how I lived with him for 23 years full of nightmares. I was already pregnant with my second child when we started building the house. He didn't do anything, so I should say I was building. I was building, not us. I carried water and made adobe bricks to raise the long dreamed of palace. How did I meet him? I met him when I was 18 years old. My brother took me to a disco, and that's where I met him. But I can't say that God brought him into my path, but rather the evil one. From the very beginning, he showed who really was. I remember he probably took my first and last gift, a pair of socks, and I hung them in the roses in the front of the house, and he, seeing this, started to speak badly to me. I should have realized by then what kind of person he was, but I just wanted to get away from home and the nightmare my father created. I hoped it would be okay because I liked being a housewife, taking care of my family. The first time he hit me, I will never forget it. I was 7 months pregnant with our eldest son. My husband worked at Rajak. It was payday and we went to Iași to shop. There was a bar in the station called Amarandei. It was very hot outside. I went inside and there he had a shot of vodka. He put me at a table with a glass of soda in front of me and then he sat down to play on a slot machine. When I told him I was sick and I want to go home, he took me outside, grabbed me by the shoulders and kicked me in the stomach. When we got home, the beating continued. Worse, much worse. For years I endured and lived with the hope that the next day would be better. But it wasn't. It was worse. I decided to divorce when he raped me in front of our children. Seeing that I didn't want to do that, he took a knife and threatened me. The eldest son tried to stop him, but he pushed him and was about to cut him with the knife. The next day after these things, I took the children and went to the police station. I told them that my husband raped me, but they laughed and said that such a thing was not possible. However, despite the laughter, I filed a complaint. The criminal case was opened, but in court it wasn't dismissed because I didn't receive the summons. After the divorce, I returned to where I had left off, to the house of my sad childhood. This time it was just me and my children. I was finally safe. But hard years followed. Years that tested me in ways I never thought possible. I struggled with material deprivation, with the insecurities that haunted me day after day, and with my own addictions. It was not easy to escape the environment that held me captive, that vicious circle of suffering and judgment. Everyone judged me. People I thought were close to me pointed fingers at me for having the courage to leave the man. They said I was wrong, that I chose the easy way, but no one knew the truth. No one knew what I had been through, what I had endured in silence, the nights when I cried and out for help, the days when I felt helpless and lost. And they, the ones who never lifted a finger to help me, were the first to condemn me. I raised my children as best I could, with what I had. I made sacrifices that only a mother can understand. The older ones, when they grew up, went abroad. They built their own lives far from the chaos and hardships we experienced together. It was hard for me to see them live, but I knew that they would have better chances there that I couldn't give them. The little one, though, he was my greatest trial, but also my greatest blessing. His diagnosis of Down syndrome came as a shock, but I didn't lose hope. I loved him with all my heart, just as he was, imperfect in the eyes of the world, but perfect for me. However, one day the world took away even this last piece of happiness. My brother, instead of helping me, did the thing that hurt me the most. He called the authorities and told them that I was incapable of raising my child. He said we were living in conditions unsuitable for a child, and they took him away. It was the hardest moment of my life. It felt like everything was over. But I didn't give up. I fought for him. I gritted my teeth, did everything that was asked from me, even when it seemed impossible. Last Christmas, after years of longing and suffering, they gave him back to me temporarily. It was the most beautiful gift I ever received. Today, he is by my side. He is growing up with me, and at its almost 18 years old, he has become a handsome young man. His eyes have a special light, and his smile gives me strength. I am proud of him, of what he has become, of everything we have managed to go through together. The hard years didn't defeat us. They made us stronger, more united. I learned to love life as it is, with all its imperfections, and, above all, I learned to love unconditionally, without expectations. Today, I am also proud of myself for living. The people in village congratulate me for my courage. Today, at almost 56 years old, I have Petrica by my side, my support. At first, my heart was full of fear, but he showed me that there are still good people in this world. However, the past haunts me. The nightmares haven't left me, but I live with the hope that I will be okay. The other day I saw the one who was my nightmare. He had the demon of dirty men, especially at the heart. He no longer inspired anything in me, maybe just pity. Today, family is my lever. I want a normal life. This is what I've always dreamed of.